Hi, my name is Zeke Zacharias here with Zacharias Ranch. Today I'd like to explain a little bit about our grazing infrastructure that we have set up here to make moving cattle very simple. So this grazing lane allows the cattle to be able to walk back to water or shade or back to my working pens. So it's kind of like a highway system that runs through our pastures. So we just have one single hot wire, and that allows us to be able to lift the wire at any point and make a gate. You can walk over here and see where we have, I think they call it the Uruguayan gate. And basically what this gate does is it's just a PVC pipe, and it's just stabbed in the ground. It's got that little insert like that on the bottom. So when we want to put in a gate, we step that in place, lift the wire, and then the cows walk under it to be able to graze this strip. So this water lane it allows us to be able to jump all over our pastures real easy. So we're getting ready to set up another move or another strip. So we'll walk down here, and we call this like a grazing strip. We try to make the grazing strip wide enough so that way it takes us about 4 days to go down with the cattle. Right now it's been taking us a little bit longer than that. It's been taking us about 5 or 6 days. So we need to probably narrow it down a little bit to make it like a 4-day pass. And the reason being is, the reason why we don't want to go much more than 4 days is because we don't want the cattle to regraze what they grazed 4 days ago. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna graze 1 day, and we're gonna have a break, a hot wire that runs from one side to this other hot wire here. You can see the strip here. And then each day another break and another break, and then they just keep walking back to the water lane. So what's gonna happen is tomorrow we're gonna move them into this strip, and we're gonna put that Uruguayan gate up, lift this up here, and then it'll allow them to go into this next strip. And then we'll drop the wire over here on this spot. We'll drop that wire so that the cattle can't get back to that grazing lane that they've already grazed the last few days. So one of the things that I wanted to do is show you how simple, by having this water lane in place, it allows us to be able to hop around. We can also, if you look over here, we can graze this side. So we can graze the right side or we can graze the left side, and we can hop around accordingly as the forage recovers. If we need to go back and graze an area, we have that option. So that way we're always grazing the highest quality forage. So it gives us a lot of versatility. We're getting ready to do some AI breeding here in a few weeks. So at any point, if a cow comes in the heat, we can take the whole herd, walk them right up this alleyway, turn left, take the alleyway up to the working pens, and there we are. So it gives us a lot of versatility. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how quickly and how easily we can set up a break for the day. Because a lot of people get overwhelmed by the fact of, oh my goodness, you move your cows every single day. That must be a real chore. And really, it can be if you don't have the right system set up. But if you have a simple system in place, it's literally a 5 to 10 minute chore. It doesn't take us much longer than it does to check the cows. And I would argue that the guys who just have their cattle spread out all over, their 100-acre pasture, they spend more time looking for their cows than we do actually moving our cows. Okay, now I'm going to show you the tools that we need to do a break. So I have these steel rods. They're actually like grounding rods. I actually cut them in 4-foot length so they fit in the back of my side-by-side. Then I have a 1-inch PVC pipe, and what we do, and that allows me to do this. I basically can go into an area. I push the rod in, depending on how wet or how hard the ground is. If it's a dry season, we'll use a hammer. I might drive that in. Then I take the sleeve, the PVC sleeve, slide it over the top. The reason why we use this is so that way when we get to the end of our break, we can just take our reel and just hook it right on the top there. And it's a pretty rigid, sturdy piece of post. It's a little more rigid than even the fiberglass. And it also allows you to hang your reel without shorting out. So it's a real simple way of doing it. So that's that's usually the end that I hang my reel on. And then the other end is just a fiberglass rod. Same deal. I'll just push that in the ground. And if I need to drive it down some more, I'll use a hammer. I usually use a rubber mallet for these. But in the summertime, when it's really dry and really hard, then the fiberglass rod is not as good of an option. Then I just use these only on both ends. So once I've done that, then the end I pull off of, all I do is I take my reel and I just do 2 half hitches. You can tie any knot you want, but a double half hitch is pretty quick. And that's the end I pull off of. And then I stretch it across my brake or across my grazing strip. And then I basically hook this end, you know, and hang it like that. So that's what you're gonna see me do here in a little bit when I put up my brake. All right, now I'm gonna show you guys how easy it is to do a single brake a day. So currently we are setting up and moving our cows about 10 o'clock in the morning each day. I've got my tools that I need here to do all the brakes I need. Currently we're using about 35 to 40 paces on the grass, but right up front here in this area is a really thick piece of grass, so I'm only gonna do 30 paces. I think that's gonna be plenty for these cows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right, so this is about what I'm gonna give them. All we do is start with the fiberglass rod, push it in the ground, take my tail end here, do my double half hitch. I go around my hot wire here to make it hot when I turn the fence back on. Now grab my other end. Walk across. There's grass here. When I get to here, take my steel rod, push it in the ground. Again, if it's moist or the ground is spongy, it goes in the ground pretty easy. If you need to use the hammer, use the hammer. The drier seasons of the year, you got to use the hammer on all of them. All right, don't forget your hammer. It's best to have a bright color so you don't lose it in the grass. Now I just walk back across, take my single post, stab that in the middle, and voila, there's one brake for the day. So now tomorrow morning when we get ready to move the cows, all I got to do is come in here, raise that wire up with that Uruguayan gate, and cows will be in here. And then the next day, you just keep going all the way down. And like I said, now when I come out here in the evening and look at the grass, then I kind of estimate, based on how well they take it down, I'll estimate how much more I want to give them the next day. So do I want to give them 15, 20% more grass the next day? Or do I need to give them 10 or 15% less? And you make that adjustment each day based off what you see in the evening. Now the trick can be, and this is something that I'm still learning and developing, the skill set is being able to estimate how much grass is in this particular brake. Because if your grass is really tall and thick, you're gonna have a lot more volume. As I go down there, there's some places where the grass gets a little thinner, so then I gotta make a bigger brake. And that's just kind of a trial and error, and the more you do it, the more you figure it out. If I need to put have a lift or a move put in place where I can't be here, I've got this bat latch style deal that I've kind of rigged up on a pole, and it's got a little solar panel here. It keeps it charged, and all we do is we have a pulley with a weight, and all we do is hook it in here and then hook this to the wire. I'll show you how we put it in place. Always point it toward the sun if you can. And then I just snap this in place. And then at 10:30 tomorrow morning, or whatever time I need it to move, This will release this little hook, and that thing will fall and raise that wire up, and then the cows will move into the next section. So this is a really handy tool to have for when you want to be able to have a move happen at a time of the day when you cannot be here. So the cows get used to seeing this thing and hearing this thing. So like when I'm even jacking with it right now, the cows are all lining up thinking I'm getting ready to move them, even though they're not going to get moved tonight. So anyways, it's kind of a teaser for them. So this little tool right here is super, super handy. I would not want to be doing this without this tool, because it allows me to be able to do consistent moves whether I'm here or not. So for those of you guys who have a day job and you're like, I can't move my cows at 10 o'clock in the morning, this is your tool right here. Or on a Sunday morning, or you're going to be gone for a day or two. I got another piece of property that I manage where I go every other day. And so I go one day and move, and then have this auto lifter in place for the next day. So my cattle are still moving daily without me having to be there daily. All right, here we are the next day. We're getting ready to do our move. I'm going to show you guys how we just put the pipe in place and move the cattle into their break. We already set the break last night, so makes it real quick this morning. All righty. Woo! Let's undo our post here. Step it in place. Put that Uruguayan gate in place, and the cows are ready to move. Woo! And we like to stand on the left side of the cow herd and just watch that, look, so that way we can look at their gut fill as they walk into the paddock. They're going to be a little emptier in the morning than they are in the evening, but I also don't want them too empty. So we just kind of observe the herd as they walk in. Stetson, if you can come over here and kind of get a shot from this angle where I'm standing. Stetson's our camera guy. He's my son, and he's pretty handy with the videoing and stuff, so if you like our video quality, it's because of him. All right, so there they are, all moved in, and they still have access to the to this waterway here, and then that takes them down to the water source, and so then they'll just they got access to the water lane, and then we'll just graze down this strip, and each day we'll give them another break, and we'll come back in the evening and look at how well they graze it down, and then that lets us know how much more we need to give them the next day. All right, so here I just wanted to show the difference. This is where we've grazed. This is the strip that they were in. You can see they took it down pretty good. Now we've back fenced it by dropping this wire back down, and so they don't have any access to this strip until it fully recovers, and we bring it back for the next graze. And so you can kind of see the difference between where they're at, or where they're grazing now, versus where they've been. And you can see they've taken it really nice and even. They've spread the manure out across that pasture, and we don't even have to mow behind them on this one. Now, in some cases, when you get some really high over mature forage, or you end up with some weeds that they don't eat or something like that, like in the middle of the summer, sometimes as some of the plants become more over mature, they may not eat it quite as evenly. And then in those cases, we come behind them with the brush hog and we mow behind them fairly quickly, right behind them, to put pressure on things like blackberry bushes or any woody species that they may not get. But this time of year, our forage is really high quality and they're taking it down completely. There's really no need for us to do any mowing behind them. And as your forage quality improves, you won't have to mow as often. So when we first started this system, we did mow a little more often behind the cows to make sure that all the plants were receiving equal pressure, so that we had better regrowth quality. So hopefully this video will help you guys kind of see the simplicity of our system and how easy it really can be. And once you get a system in place, the daily moves are really not that daunting, but they're quite effective and good for your land and good for your cattle. Thanks a lot. All right, final tip of the day, and this is an important one. Once you're done setting everything up, always remember, turn your fencer back on. So we just got a cutoff switch right here so we can flip it on and off. But I've made the mistake of forgetting that, and you can get away with it for a while, but every now and then, every time I've ever had cows out, usually it's because somebody forgot to turn that on. So especially those calves and stuff at certain times of the year. So anyways, always make sure that fence is turned on when you leave, and make sure you turn it off before you touch it. I've learned that one as well.